When you first start working in Bubble, you've probably noticed that when you preview your app, you see this debugger and this debugging bar down here at the bottom. There's a few options here on the left. The debugger allows you to see your workflows and things that happen when you're clicking around and basically the interactions that you're taking with your app. And then here on the inspect area, this is how you can actually just inspect the present state of something within your app. So we're going to use both of those here in this video, and I'm going to give you a short tutorial just on how to basically go about using this debugger, and we'll look at some sample scenarios. So first and foremost is that the debugger will run in this normal mode kind of as default, and basically there meaning you don't actually see any of the stuff going on here. It just allows you to interact with your app without the debugger jumping up and showing things. So then next, let's try this one where it's slow. So we see the debugger panel popping up. It slowly walks through the workflows, and then we can see it doing its thing. And then in this step-by-step one, this is where when you're probably dealing with a problem that you're working through, you'll want to, and you have behavior that's unexpected. You thought that it was programmed a certain way. It's behaving in a way that is not aligned with the expectation of how you think it should be behaving. And so you're kind of going down the path to troubleshoot that. So here, let's take a look at what's happening when we hit remove this team from the tournament. It's saying, oh, this button remove is clicked. Cool. We actually see that update occur here. It doesn't actually, a good thing to note is that the stuff will run here in the background actually, and then prior to even seeing this next stuff here. So as you can see here, the thing to change was this tournament, and basically you can click through and basically see information about the types of data and the types of things that you're working on in your app. So for example, in this tournament, it happens to have this unique ID. So you could take this unique ID and I could go look in my database and ensure that I'm working with the right thing. So here I have tournaments. I just so happen to have only one tournament here, and we can see, so this was 77380 and 77380. Obviously, again, only one piece of data here, and in your world you might have dozens or something like that. So you can use that to identify and tie things back. So cool. So it looks like that's what's being changed. And then if we look over on our workflow here, we can kind of do like a bit of a comparison. So when let's see, remove from tournament, this one we're working with, we can see that essentially this panel, when you're setting up stuff, we're working with data being changed in this particular example. Obviously, there is a number of ways, and in one video, it's pretty hard to capture all the different permutations of or the variety of ways in which the debugger is used and useful, but you'll get the general gist here that everything in blue here is kind of the dynamic things that you can click around and find more information on and basically sort out what exactly is it that's going on. So we can see here that this tournament is this same one here, this thing that we said to change, and then the teams in the tournament remove the current cells team. So here on the page, the teams in the tournament remove current cells team, and then we can get information about what that cells team was. So that was team A in this particular example. So we note that team A got moved over, it was actually removed. That we can see here, this is the command or the workflow instruction. So cool. So I'm just going to run next there, and then next up, let's see. Let's think for 1 second about a number of different things. I've given a very easy example here, but perhaps we would only want to add a team to this only when it's not already in it or something like that. Now, my user interface doesn't allow me to click on Team A here, but let's imagine a case where something was already in there and there would be a conditional here. So let me see if I can find a conditional statement. I'm just going to go to expect. Okay, so here's a conditional statement. This is just it doesn't have anything to do with what I was talking about for this example, but a conditional statement will always show up as a conditional statement here over in the debugger, so you can check that this condition, it'll turn red when that condition is not true. So here we look at the evaluator, is hovered, it evaluates to a yes or no, and it's like, no, I was not hovering that. And even if I actually went to hover it here, it's not a real-time updater. It's just, what was the state of things like when we opened up this inspector, as it will. So actually, you might have something that you're working with. Sometimes you'll need to actually stop and then hit reinspect to. So let's see. This is a button. Well, it's hard. It's hard to hover this. That's a poor example of a conditional, to hover this and needing to hit inspect at the same time. But basically, what I wanted to point out is that even in that workflow where it was moving or we were seeing the workflow steps, it would have a conditional on it like this. Like, for example, if you're working in a world with a conditional, and that might be, you might have an is empty or is not empty or is equal to this or is not. And, the conditional just might be flip-flopped or something like that. And that is why, the behavior that you're seeing is not the expected behavior from what you programmed it. So this is just kind of the way it's like, oh, okay, is the conditional that you meant to be met being met, and so on and so forth. The next thing I want to show here on this inspector is that you can go and you can look for, over here on your design tab, you can go and look for the different elements that you have. So I have, in this group tournament, a couple of repeating groups here. So I could go and I could isolate these repeating groups. And this is why naming things is helpful, because I can see that if I had just like one of these was repeating group team and one of them was repeating group team copy, it'd be like, okay, which one, what did I do? But if you label them teams in the tourney, not in the tournament, you can see, so here, the one's not in a tournament starts with Team C, and we get all the data associated with this element, right? So this is a really handy way to take a look at everything that's going on. We could look at alerts, that alert is empty. What else? Button, all the properties. Basically, a lot of the things that are laid out here in the property editor are just being laid out here. But I guess the nice thing to know is like conditionals and other things that you have back over in this area. It's just a way to look at everything that you've built here in your bubble editor from a different vantage point, from the vantage point of how does it look through each step of interacting with your app over here on the front end where your users will be using it. So if you found this helpful, if you would like more videos about the debugger, maybe some specific use cases, or you're running into a specific problem, drop a comment below and I'll be happy to respond and help you out. If you've liked this video, please like it, subscribe to the channel, get some more great content, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks for watching.